and welcome to another edition of Fitness for All. I'm your host, Cam Jenkins, and the podcast is sponsored by Liebert Fitness. And on today's show, I do have the head trainer and owner of StrengthBox, Greg Carver. Greg Carver, welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you very much, Cam. Happy to be here this morning.
Perfect. And because we have a mutual friend in Mark Liebert, and as of the taping today, it's actually his birthday.
It is. I sent him a text, sorry to interrupt, about 10 minutes ago, wishing him a happy birthday.
So, can you maybe talk about how Mark and you met?
Yeah, absolutely. If my memory serves me well. So I know we had first connected on social media because we had a few mutual friends in the fitness industry. And at that time, and this is probably, this would be 11 years ago, I guess, 10 or 11 years ago. And I was aware of the equalizer bars, and I had been using some equalizer bars. And then I reached out to him through social media saying that I was opening up a facility in Toronto in East York, and that would be the StrengthBox facility. And I was interested in getting some equalizer bars from his company. And Mark, much to my surprise, he messaged me back and said he would love to help me out with some equalizer bars, and he would like to deliver them in person, which I didn't really expect. I would hear from the president of the company at the time, coming to deliver them in person. But he drove out to my facility in East York, and at that time was just newly opened, and set me up with a whole bunch of equalizer bars and offered to teach a class. And I thought, what an amazing guy. And so we just, we've stayed friends over the past 10 years or so. So it's been awesome.
Absolutely. And can you maybe talk about your journey into fitness and why you got into fitness? Because it is quite remarkable, your story.
Well, thanks, Cam. Yeah, sometimes I have to remember because, time passes and you have to remember where you came from and why you got into this gig in the first place. And so, I'm not a typical trainer in terms of my background and my past, because I was always kind of the underdog. I was not, in my younger years when I was growing up, I was certainly, no one would ever describe me as being athletic. No one would ever describe me as being strong. I was usually the last one to be picked in a sports team like that. I always struggled with that kind of stuff because I never really believed in myself. I was kind of into other things. And then, and I kind of dismissed it, as something that was just for other people. And it wasn't until, my sort of early adult years, and I got hit with a whole lot of health problems. And some of them were pretty serious. And some of them were just out of the blue. Like I had 3 spontaneous lung collapses, not all at the same time, obviously, but it was like 1 year and then the next year and then 2 years later after that. That's all been surgically corrected. But I was hospitalized a number of times for different ailments. And as I grew older, I started to have even more problems that I couldn't even figure out what the root cause was. Like I remember even, as late as my 40s, when I was in my 40s, I struggled with a lot of joint pain, feeling of extreme fatigue, and to the point that it was really rough. Just managing day-to-day life, trying to hold down. I had a corporate job at that time, and man, I felt like an old man. Like I really did. I would wake up in the morning and I feel like I was 90 years old, I was creaking around. You know how old people move really slowly and nothing just seems fluid, nothing seems easy. And the joint pain became almost unbearable, and just aches and pains all over, not just in the joints, but all over my body. I kind of felt like I had the flu, like that, those kind of symptoms where you ache everywhere, except it never, ever went away. And I was taking a lot of Advil at the time, like a lot, because it was the only thing that could kind of manage the pain and get me through the day. And of course I was seeking help. I was seeking medical help for it, but it was a real tough one for doctors to solve. And the only real answers I got was, well, keep taking the Advil and come back in another month or so and we'll, do some more tests. And they were looking at everything from lupus to fibromyalgia to this, to that, to the other thing. I finally just kind of got frustrated, and I was thinking, well, this is kind of the way life is going to be, I guess. And I became aware of, uh, there was a guy, Bryce Wild is his name, and he's kind of a little bit of an alternative holistic guy in terms of holistic health. And I reached out to him and I said, look, here's my problem. And he met with me and said, Greg, you know, I'm not going to diagnose what your issue is, but let's just try and solve it. And he wanted to start, he said, the problem's in your gut. Like it's your gut. And I said, no, it's not. It's my, you know, that's not what's aching. That's not what's giving me pain. That's not what's causing fatigue. A little bit, I fought it a bit. But what he was getting at is he needed to sort out inflammation, right? The inflammation that started in my gut and was going through all my body. I was chronically inflamed everywhere. And we figured it's because of all the health challenges I had, which I only really touched on. And my body just kind of went into this state of saying, okay, enough is enough. We're just going to break down because we can't take anymore. And so we changed my diet. We went to a pretty anti-inflammatory diet. At that time, it was, you know, very low in terms of things like grains, certainly no sugar, a lot of organic stuff, and a lot of supplementation, to be frank, including a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, like good supplements and things, and probiotics. And I was skeptical at first, I'm going to tell you, but within 45, probably 30 to 60 days, I was a believer because I just felt like a new person. I felt like a new man. Like all the pain went away. I couldn't believe it. And I thought to myself, you know, maybe part of this is psychosomatic. Like maybe it's just not the diet. Maybe it's not the supplements. Maybe it's just my brain thinking that this is working, therefore it is. But I didn't care as long as it worked. Who cares? Right? So when you have an experience like that, you want to kind of share it with others. And then, you know, he said, okay, Greg, now you got to get back into some kind of exercise program, strength training. And I said, okay, I think I can, because all the time when I was sick, I literally had no energy. I couldn't do anything, right? So I started again, and I discovered late in life, I was actually pretty damn good at this stuff. Like once I was able to do stuff, there was no stopping me. Like there was just no stopping me. And it's been like that ever since. Every year I just try and keep improving myself. And so that's what ultimately led me to build my community here and to teach other people how to be resilient and how to be strong and how to be mobile and how to retain their youth, so to speak.
And for StrengthBox, you do teach, or basically you talk about, or you do the benefits of primal movement. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what primal movement is?
Sure. And we've evolved, obviously, Cam, since, you know, day one first opening. So, you know, primal movement, you know, you can call it a bunch of different things, natural movement, but I'm a big believer in keeping your body moving the way that nature intended it to move. So, you know, this gets branded as different things, but ultimately humans are designed to walk, we're designed to run, we're designed to jump, we're designed to throw things, we're designed to roll around on the ground. Like if you look at things that little kids do, you know, like they're jumping and they're tumbling and they're running. That's what we need to do as adults, but adults don't do that. Adults sit down and adults stand. Right? But a lot of adults even have a hard time connecting with the floor, because for a lot of older people, getting down on the floor and getting back up off the floor is a challenge, right? If you watch old people. Well, that's why we need to practice getting up and getting down and getting back up off of the floor. If you want to retain some semblance of, of youth, those are the kind of movements you need to practice and to train. I see so many adults, Cam, that if I ask them to do a jump, like even jump 10 inches onto this box, they're scared. They can't do it because they haven't done it for years. But we should be able to do that stuff. And so that was very much a key factor in building this facility here, is giving people a place to safely train those movements. under coaching, right? In a non-intimidating kind of non-judgmental atmosphere where nobody really cares what level you're at, but they care that you come in and you practice this stuff. And so I'm still very much a believer in that stuff, especially the rolling and the ground engagement. I mean, I practice that stuff all the time, even hanging off a bar. It's just so good for you. But that doesn't mean I throw out the traditional strength and conditioning too. I still do that. I still love my barbells. I still love my kettlebells. I still love my equalizer bars. I love my pull-up bar. I kind of do it all.
And what some of the equipment that you use at your gym that other people don't necessarily use at theirs?
I would say, to be honest, a lot, when you say gym, I mean, there's a lot of different styles of gyms, obviously. So some may have some of the stuff that we have, some may not. In terms of something that might be very unique, I mean, I have a climbing structure in here that's built out of, red Western cedar and maple. And I don't think there's other climbing gyms that have such a structure. It's pretty unique. It was all designed by myself and two artists and we reinforced it all with Kevlar inside, so you can't see the Kevlar. It's actually a work of art. It's pretty neat. There's also a log that hangs from the ceiling from two chains. So that's kind of fun to play around on, see, not just for pull-ups, but see if you can actually get yourself over the log, right? It's like trying to get over a tree branch. And this one moves too, because it's hanging. So stuff like that, I guess, would be unique. But then there's a lot of stuff that's similar too. We use a lot of kettlebells here. I'm a big fan of Russian kettlebells. Still like my barbells and dumbbells, all that kind of stuff. Lately, I've been into a lot more body weight stuff and calisthenics because I enjoy that. And I find it's very scalable for different people. So yeah, I try not to be too dogmatic. I try and mix things up.
Yeah, and I know that on your website, the gregcarver.com, you do have quite a few great posts. And one of them that I really enjoyed reading was about consistency beats everything.
Consistency. Yes, 100%. Yeah, that's what people forget. Like some people say, oh, I just don't feel like training today. Sometimes you just got to show up. And it's not necessarily, obviously the intensity matters. Obviously diet matters. Like everything matters. But if there was one thing that's going to get you results, showing up is half the battle. It's just making it consistent. And that's what you think about. A lot of people struggle with that, right? They struggle with it. I don't struggle with that anymore because I so look forward to training. I kind of changed my thinking about, and I don't know when this happened, but about how I approach training. And that's what I call it, training. I don't even like the words fitness and workouts almost because sometimes they have negative connotation. So I think of it as practice time. I think of it as training time. It's my time. It's my time to, and I've said these words before, but it's my time to be creative. It's my time to figure out what's my body capable of today. How is it moving today? And I just so look forward to that time because we're so distracted now, the media, like, what it's like. This world is crazy. And so if I can take a piece of my day and just dedicate it, it's a beautiful thing. And so for me, consistency isn't a problem because I look forward to stuff. But for other people, they have to figure out how they can make that work for them. It shouldn't be a chore. In other words, it shouldn't be like something you dread. You know what I mean? Like it has to be something that you really enjoy, that you look forward to.
No, absolutely. And how do you make it fun for people that are trying to be consistent? And what suggestions do you have for people to try and become consistent?
It's very individualized. It's hard to generalize because it depends on the reasons why somebody isn't consistent or why someone struggles. I think a lot depends on what level they are. Are they a raw beginner or have they been doing it for this long time and they've just kind of lost interest? For some people, it's just a matter of making it a priority. And I know it's easy to say schedule it. Yes, we've all heard these words before, but sometimes you need a trigger. So you say like, okay, maybe you don't get to eat lunch until you've done your workout. Like that would be so your lunch is your trigger, right? Because that's your reward. I mean, that's just one example, but there has to be a way of connecting it with something else that's going to actually make you show up and do the work. But I think a lot is very highly individualized.
No, absolutely. And I think that different things motivate different people. So it does need to be individialized.
Yeah, and it
Absolutely.
depends on your goals too, right? Like, and it depends on what it is you're doing. I mean, not everyone's doing the same thing, right? I mean, a lot of people are working out at home right now, right? So people might have Liebert bars, or they may have this new HIIT system, or some people are doing body weight. Some people do have, a set of weights, and our circumstances now are different than, say, what they were a couple of months ago, for sure. So people are facing different challenges now. That they weren't facing before, because we have other stresses in our lives. So I think part of it is realizing that this can be a stress reduction tool. If your life is very stressful right now, it's like, I think of it as kind of, it's almost another form of meditation, but it's not a calming, peaceful meditation. It's one that kind of, gets your heart going and gets the blood pumping, but in a way it contributes to your overall health. So it's kind of like moving meditation.
And you mentioned about, we are all dealing with the COVID-19.
Yes.
How do you see your approach moving forward once this is over and we get back to some sort of normalcy?
This is a really difficult question to answer, Cam. It's a really difficult one. Because we don't have guidelines yet, right? We don't have strict guidelines. I think we're fortunate as a facility in one regard, because we are small and we are community based. So our classes here, and we do run classes, they've never been busy. I mean, we've been here for 10 years, but it's always a fairly small number of people in here that tend to know one another. And so that's going to help, I think, make people feel more comfortable. Because we can certainly limit the number of people in here. We can certainly maintain social distancing. We can certainly do things like, watch that people aren't sharing equipment and stuff. But there's a lot of questions that remain unanswered. And I wish I had the answers. Like, to be honest, I wish I had them. But I think it'll take a while before things get, and it makes me, that's cause of my stress, is kind of like, what is the new normal and what does it look like? And I'm not the only one facing this, this question right now. A lot of us in the industry are going through this. Obviously a lot is moving online. And I've been coaching online for quite a number of years now, because I've had clients in Mexico, the United States, a few in Canada. Most of them have been international. That works for some people. It doesn't work for all people. The problem is that space right now is very crowded, because literally every trainer in the world right now is looking to do online training, right? So it becomes a very crowded space.
Absolutely.
But then again, the way I look at it is, well, we all have our communities, we all have our connections. So that's where I will start, when if I decide to open my online business up further. I mean, as I said, it exists now, but because I've been guiding people, and that type of stuff works, I think, better if you have specific goals that you're working for. If somebody wants to learn a particular skill, or they want to learn something that I'm particularly good at and they want to be able to do it too, then I can help them on their journey.
And going with that about helping people on their journey, how can people reach out to you if they do want to, get involved with StrengthBox, or you specifically?
Sure. Well, there's a number of ways. Obviously, our facility is still closed right now, but people can connect with me. First of all, I'm on Instagram, so you can follow me there at Greg. I believe it's Greg.Carver on Instagram. You can connect with me through my website at gregcarver.com, and there's a place where you can send me a message. And people can email me too. Greg@gregcarver.com is a pretty simple email address, and I do read my emails. And I'm trying to put a little more content out. I also have a YouTube channel, which I believe is also Greg Carver, YouTube/Greg Carver. So you'll find me out there. I'm putting a lot more content right now on YouTube. So I put a number of follow-along workouts. Particularly, I'm concentrating on things that can be done with body weight. So I've done some beginner body weight exercises. I put up some intermediate calisthenics exercises. I put up, sorry, not just exercises, actually routines that people can follow along, and some that also use the Liebert equipment, like the Liebert equalizer bars, which I think are great, by the way, especially, you know, for people that don't have access to pull-up bars. These are just perfect. I mean, I use them all the time in my training. They're just awesome.
Mark will be real pleased to hear about that.
Yeah.
So.
That's one thing. If you're on a desert island, you get one of those stupid questions, and you could have one piece of equipment. What would it be? Yeah, that would be at the top of my list.
Absolutely. And your videos on YouTube, I've watched them, especially the beginner body workout, and it's phenomenal how you have developed that just by having the you know, the word saying 1, 2, 3 begin, and just the entire video. I love how
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to do more of those. I like that, especially for beginners. I think it's important. I'm not specifying reps, saying you have to do 10 reps of this, you have to do 30 reps of that, because for a beginner, I don't know what people's level are. So giving them a time period, saying, oh, you've got 60 seconds to do this, do what you can do. I don't care if it's 5 or if it's 35, you do what you can do. Just follow along with me. I'm trying to give tips and things. So yeah, I plan to put out more content like that, but thank you. I appreciate the comment.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, and I'll definitely be doing that beginner workout probably sometime today. So
then you need to send me an email and let me know how it goes.
I certainly will. Well, I want to thank Greg for being on the podcast today for a Fitness for All, and like I had mentioned, it is sponsored by Liebert Fitness, and we certainly look to have you on the podcast again.
That'd be great. Hopefully we can delve into you know, a couple of specific topics and do a little bit of a deeper dive. That would interest me.
Absolutely. Love to have you on again.
Have a great day, Cam. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for being on, and we'll connect soon. Yep, you're welcome. Have a great day.